to unveil this big pink masterpiece. No, you're going to have to wait. So there are multiple ways to launch something like this, and one is to do lots of thorough testing and make sure that it's been through thorough shakedowns, and the other is to just go like as soon as it seems like it's vaguely ready, and this is the latter. So today, coming up the hill was the first big ride that it's had, and it was good. It went well. So I just wanted to step back to like what Cahoots is about and what the reason therefore for this trailer is. Cahoots is really about three things, and one is offering services, repair and maintenance services to folks who struggle to access them. And to do that we charge folks who have more so that we can offer services that are subsidized to poorer folks. And the second thing that we do is try and like advocate for and promote and help out and support queer tradies. And then the last thing that we do is push for using bike power in that sort of space, in the trades. And that's tricky because tools and utes and that's what people think of, and that's what people traditionally use. So this is clearly the last part of that. It's like advocating for bike tradie stuff. But then for me it's kind of a lot more than that too. I can't drive ever because of my visual disability. So I have to bike everywhere, and so building this trailer allows me, should hopefully, if it all works, allow me to do those things that I like to do, to allow me to do that kind of tradie work. And so really it's a big freedom that it gives me, and that's why personally it was so important, beyond the supporting Cahoots, beyond the supporting what Cahoots is doing, it was so important to me personally. And so I'm so grateful to everyone who supported it with the Pledge Me, everyone who contributed to that to help us get to the point that we have a working, heavy carrying bike trailer. So to talk about what's great about it, it's not the first powered and braked bike trailer in the world, not quite. There have been a few others. There have been a few braked ones, there have been very few powered ones. But I'm going to claim that this is the first bike trailer in the world that has regen braking. Hilarious. 3, 2, 1. So I won't stand in the way of the supporters. So it's Cahoots Pink. We have cards and stickers for anyone who hasn't got cards or stickers. And yeah, I can walk you through it, I can answer questions, we can do a little bit of that before we head inside. There will be some snacks and drinks and things. But yeah, from me, just hugely grateful to everyone who supported the build, everyone who contributed. Some of them chose to have their names on here, some of the corporate sponsors wanted to be on here as well, and so hugely grateful to all those people. We raised 10 grand through the Pledge Me, which covered most of the cost of the trailer. And it has been a time, the last couple of weeks, working towards this deadline, trying to get ready for today. The last week, just hammering through things, getting it working. I've had Soph and Cam. Where's Soph and Cam? Hey, up there. I've had Soph and Cam helping out with the vinyl wrap for the last 2 nights, kept them up late. Soph did all the graphic work for it, and Cam organised the printing and did the vinyl application and all of that sort of stuff, so I'm really grateful to them. They also did it with the previous trailer, the unpowered one, so they deserve a lot of praise. I also have to thank someone who doesn't want everyone to look at them, so nobody can, but who supported me throughout the whole thing. Obviously that's Ember, has been just a huge support. Don't look at... I said they didn't want you to look at them, like they're much happier sitting there quietly filming. Yeah, and I've had lots of other little bits and pieces of support. And yeah, this week's been a lot, it's been really hard. But here we are. It's not quite finished, but it's almost finished. Come down, have a look, open the lid, have a poke and prod, and I can tell you all about it. Thank you. Come forward, climb inside, have a look. And we.
I love how you've got the clear panel.
Yeah, that was Cam's idea. I think it was Cam's idea to leave perspex there so you can see the inside. See all the. Hi, Lou. How you doing?
The PowerPoint that's down there.
Yes.
Does that mean you
Have
can
power tools from wherever you are.
No. Well, no. There's
Charge your batteries.
like yes.
Yeah.
So there's a caravan input on the outside, and it's so that I can plug in either tool chargers, but I can also plug in the charger for the trailer inside here and have it closed and locked while plugged in through a waterproof. There's a waterproof power inlet under there.
So it's not
It's a pass through.
you have to get it. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, but it's so I can charge the trailer. Really, it's for that. I mean, yeah, you could put tool chargers in there too, but I can put the trailer chargers in, close it and lock it, and have it charge up, and whatever the weather as well. And like so, even like at night, overnight at home, because we don't have a garage for it to live in. Oh, and it beeps when it.
And you've got like little hooks there.
Yeah, I've got tie down points everywhere. It's got the tail lights should be on now. Yeah. And they flash when it's braking.
waterproof seal?
Yeah. No indicators. Couldn't be bothered. It's probably the only one in the Southern Hemisphere. There aren't many. There are a few in Europe, but not many there either. Like I say, first with regen braking.
If they do.
And are you ready to scale it up, Jay?
We'll make a bigger one. I'll make more.
Double decker.
Yeah, what if someone else?
I would love to. So I was just thinking about this before and talking about it, and I haven't fully done a full costing of what it would be to make more. It would be cheaper than this. This was a prototype, and so things went wrong. Things went wrong. In addition to things going wrong, I changed things as I worked on it and sort of found different solutions and the like. So I think, including the labor cost, you could build them to sell for somewhere in the sort of 15,000 ballpark, plus or minus. Probably not a lot cheaper because the bill of materials is around the 10 grand mark. So companies with some coin, I'd love to work with some companies who have some slightly deeper pockets and want to move to a bike. Well, there's nothing much that's sort of protectable, but I certainly have the skills and experience. Like I say, it hasn't been done barely ever. There are some bike trailers around for sure. There are some three-wheel bike trailers in this kind of configuration, and you can buy off the shelf one like that in theory has braking. But it's a very, very small space. There's not much experience in the space, so I think that's worth a lot. I mean, the amount of money that we've spent on this is somewhere north of that because of the mistakes and because of the changes and because of things like that. So yeah. So I designed it for a gross weight of 250 kilos. And so if you take off the sort of 60 kilos for the trailer, which is a guess because I need to find a friendly weighbridge operator. So you got a net weight of somewhere around 180, 190 kilos. It really just depends on how quickly you want to go, how steep a hill you want to go, things like that. You won't go necessarily slower if you load it more heavily than that, but there are things to consider. So even though it does braking and it does it very effectively, if you have a very high load and it tries to brake aggressively, it's only got a small contact area with the wheels compared to like a car or something, and so it can skid a bit. And so I'm still fine-tuning the control. The braking and power is all controlled based on the electronics in here from an input in the drawbar. So it measures how much tension there is on the drawbar or how much compression there is on the drawbar. It knows whether you're trying to pull it or whether you're trying to stop it, and it will activate the brakes and motors accordingly. But it's not tuned perfectly right now, so I still need to. That's going to take some time. I spent most of Thursday doing that, and it just still needs more. But definitely getting it there. It definitely wasn't unpleasant to ride it up here. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't unpleasant. So yeah.
What's your security?
So the lock isn't mounted yet. That's one of the things that hasn't been done yet is putting the lock on there. So it has two different built-in tracking systems. I know where it is at all times. It can, so it can do motion alerts. So like if you close it up and leave it somewhere, and someone comes along and gives it a shake, it will text my phone or whatever. It'll do all that stuff.
So can you unhook it just like a regular
Yep,
trailer and
yep.
stick it on a different bike?
Yep, as long as you've got a tow bar on the bike. The Spicy Carries, the way that Bicycle Junction have decided to put tow bars on the Spicy Carries is to use a regular tow ball, like a car tow ball, and so they have an engineer who built that adapter basically to mount it into the back of the Spicy Carry. Loads it directly into the frame, and so it feels really good having weight loaded on there. So I went with what they were doing and decided to put the tow hitch at that level with a regular hitch on it. So there's sort of a barrier there to getting a bike to the point that you could tow this with it. But I decided, I very much like that towing. A lot of the smaller bike trailers have a hitch that sort of connects to the back of the seat post or something, and when you've got a lot of weight on there, it's not really rugged enough. It's not really rigid enough. So
you've got kid seats on there, and theoretically you can put all your luggage in here.
I mean, it's true, and go on holiday. I don't know how much of the battery I used coming up the hill. Oh, not a lot. Great, it's doing great.
Are these the bits that you did with a 3D printer?
Yeah, so there's lots of 3D printed parts in here. 3D printers are incredible. I would never have wanted one, and then years ago I got one for work, and once you've got it and you realize its potential as a tool, all kinds of things. So the little mounting things for this plate, all of the connection parts on the braking system here, just a plate here for the switches to go in, right? Rather than having to try and carefully sit there and with a jigsaw and carefully machine out holes for these switches, I just cut a big raggedy hole and put a plate on top with switches in. The pass-throughs for these cables. Prototyping the brake mounts before I got them machined in steel, all kinds of stuff with the 3D printer. And mounting the gas strut there.
How does this close?
It's got a handle.
I was trying to push it down before it wasn't going. So.
Oh, you're right where the gas strut is, I guess.
Break it.
Would you normally count your gear to a job in it as it is, and then use it subsequently to get materials?
Yeah, it depends on the amount of materials, because it's you can definitely take all your tools in this, and if it's a bigger job, just get the materials delivered to site. And so we're not trying to not engage with sort of petrol vehicles or whatever. Like, it makes sense if you need a ton of timber delivered that they come round on their circuit with the truck and they drop it. But it's a very efficient way to use fuel and to use the vehicles, and to get around and do a drop of timber for you. Because I'd be doing a fair few trips with this thing. But certainly for smaller loads of materials and things, absolutely. And I can strap things on top. I've got tie-down points underneath, so I can put straps over the top and strap longer things on.
Even like
They're heat sinks for cooling the motor controllers. So the motor controllers are mounted behind these. So the batteries are in the front. There's cable looms underneath with control signals and power running to the motor controllers, which are here, and then the cable for the motor drops down and out through there and drives the motor. The motor controllers are switching a lot of power so they can get warm. So I put these heat sinks on. They're probably massively overkill because it's kind of difficult to quantify the amount of heat they need to dump, the amount of heat you need to be able to reject. And so there's a lot of engineering involved here, and some of it is like first principles engineering, so you work things out and figure out what capacity of heat sink you need, what size, blah, blah, blah. Some of it is just like, well, you know what, I can just stick a big heat sink on there.
Yeah. I'll
Like,
just do it that
it's
way,
fine,
'cause
just-
I can't bother doing it.
but also like you could do all the calculations
And be
that you
wrong.
like, and then like you have a heat wave
It's true,
and
it's
you
true,
have to
yeah.
suddenly dump way more, so it may as well.
So they didn't even get vaguely warm coming up today, so I think it's fine. That's just in case the back end hits something.
Oh, nice.
It just protects the body really, particularly our driveway. When I come off the back section, you haven't seen ours, but I come onto the very steep street. Yeah,
I was going to ask you about that, going over a hill.
yeah.
Is there any risk that it'll happen?
Oh, the other way, if it bottoms out sort of on here.
Yeah.
You'd have to have a very steep.
It wouldn't be a Wellington situation.
I don't think so. You get a lot the other way, like I say, a lot of the like going down a curb, what you call it, a curb drop or whatever, and that's when those ones might come in and hit it. But actually going the other way and catching the bottom, I think, is unlikely. It should be fine too. It's all steel under here. The worst thing you would do is damage the brake line, which runs under there. But those brakes are just for parking anyway, really.
But also your wheels are like just thinking it.
It's not far apart,
your
are
wheels
they?
Are not
Exactly.
further apart than
Yeah.
cars, so
No.
it would be absolutely fine.
And it's probably got as much clearance as a lowered car.
Yeah, but
No, it's for uploading new software, for updating the code. No, it's not a phone
No,
charger.
it's not. What are the XLRs and the little black?
So these are for charging the 2 batteries in here.
Oh yeah.
And then the USB-C is for connecting to the microcontroller for changing the code.
Okay. The geekery. I love it.
I mean, there's a 48 volt supply in there. There's a 5 volt supply for the electronics.
Yeah.
So I could easily put a USB charger on for charging my phone. And I thought about it, but actually, part of my standard kit is a little USB charger block that goes on a tool battery. And so I've always got that. And my phone doesn't usually run out midday anyway, so it didn't seem necessary.
And how was the process for you? Was it smoothish or was it eye-watering, or how did you go?
It was. It's been hard. It's been definitely the thing when some things go wrong and there's no one to ask. There's nowhere to turn and just be like, what do I do here? Or something confuses me, or is this the best way to do this, or is this the best way to do this? And there's no one to ask. There's no real answer. So it's kind of that feeling of very much being stuck in it on your own and kind of not having just throwing your arms in the air as an option.
No.
I said to a few people, like after the Pledge Me, it felt like I'd gone to people and said, hey, if you give me some money, I'll make this thing. And everyone said, okay, great, here's some money. And I was like, oh shit, now I have to make a thing.
It's long. How does it feel on the road?
It feels really good because it is longer than I intended, actually, by the way. It was going to stop here.
Yeah.
I left the cross bracing for the strength because this is where the wheels are and stuff.
Yeah,
But it was going to stop here, and then I was looking at it and I was like, you know what? While I'm building this, it should have plenty of torque to get up the hills. And I'll stick an extra bit on the end. It is long and narrow because I don't want it to be that much wider than a bike, fit in a bike lane, those kind of things. The wheelbase is very similar to the old trailer, to the commercial Surly chassis. It handles really nicely.
The wee device that you're actuating your brakes
Yep.
off, what is that?
It's a linear actuator. So
Of course.
that's what they call them. It's really really quite silly.
A plunger.
They're often used to replace like a hydraulic cylinder or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why they're in that form factor. And there's a motor there and a gear drive at the bottom, and it just shoves that ram out. Pretty quickly. It's not coated up yet because the brake lines don't have any fluid in them yet. So it wouldn't do anything. But what I discovered once I took it for its first wee test, once I got the motors and the electronics connected and some basic programming in, I found out that the regen braking is so powerful that for riding around, you don't need the friction brakes.
Interesting.
It's so powerful. So if I was building one of these for somebody else, the friction brakes would be an option.
Yeah.
Now, they're really important for me because I bike up to a job and I flick it into park and the brakes come on, and then I can be on a steep hill and I just jump off the bike and it's fine. But if you ride up to a house on a steep hill and you don't have the ability to turn friction brakes on, then you kind of can't jump off the bike.
So this is all.
Two big batteries in here. They are 48 volts and they're 2 batteries at 17 amp hours each.
Okay.
So 30.
That's amazing. You can fit them in there. Like that seems like
It pretty much fills it. If you can see them there. See the 2 black boxes. Yeah.